Howdy. Welcome to podcast number 4, TULLOCH podcast. Thank you to our sponsors, Boot It Fitness, well done. Boot It Fitness providing a boot camp in a box business. Moving on, we've got today's topic, which we're going to cover in depth. We've now decided we're going to change it. We're just going to talk about one thing for our podcast. Per podcast, one thing in general, and today's topic is going to be vaccinations for kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to center this conversation around a incident that's been happening lately. Sorry, we'll try and stabilize this camera a bit for you. Okay, an incident that's been happening lately here in the South Pacific, where we've got 60 odd, I think it was like 65, 67 children have died in Samoa. We had a bit of an outbreak here in Auckland, eh?
Yeah, before that happened.
We had an outbreak here in Auckland.
Yeah.
And then we've also got just a general thing with a lot of people not vaccinating their kids, eh? It seems to be a problem. So the Samoan government has introduced a law into their country where all kids have to be vaccinated to try and sort this problem out. Like literally people are being locked inside their houses and doors are being marked and things like that to say that you're vaccinated or not. So they're going pretty hard out to solve this problem. Then we've got, so that's like setting the story for this vaccination issue, which is mainly around measles, eh?
It's measles, yeah.
Cool. Then we've got this lady, so welcome George to the show. George is in the background. Then we've got this lady over in Australia. Her name is Taylor Winterstein, right? How would we say that?
I think it's Stein.
Winterstein. She goes out with a professional rugby league player, and she is copping a bit of flack because she has created courses and she's charging $200 a pop to teach people the dangers of vaccination, right?
Yeah.
And she's also criticizing the Samoan government. She's using her platform on Instagram to criticize the Samoan government, call them Nazis because they're making people get vaccinated. So that's setting the scene. Darling, what's your views on vaccination?
I'm pro-vaccination, but I prefer, like we've talked about it, because I was like anti-vaccination, but all our kids are vaccinated, but I'm just scared of the effects of the vaccinations on our kids later. But I'm pro.
So like all parents, I guess, when it comes time to vaccinate, we did our homework. We were very worried about vaccinating, eh? Like you're like really worried. You see all the stuff come up on Facebook. There's all of the really negative stuff. You see people like kids getting autism or all of these health issues that they get.
Well, you hear all the bad side effects of it. And then you hear all these anti-vax people talk about it, and it just kind of just worries, scares you a little. Are you doing the right thing for your kids? But I would rather, then we looked up, when we were looking it up.
You went quite hard out anti-vax, eh? That's what I remember.
I don't think I was hard out.
You were pretty anti-vax. You were almost on the bandwagon, weren't you? Would you say?
No. Well,
close.
Maybe I was close.
Close.
But we still got our kids done.
You were close to getting on the bandwagon.
No, I was more like having them all done at the same time. I went into the doctors and I took Mackenzie for her, I think it was her 15 months. And she had 4 needles. 4 There was chickenpox, there was rotavirus, I think that was a drink, MMR, like 4 needles in her limb. Whereas I would have rather have given 2 needles 1 week, come back in a couple of weeks, and given her another 2, instead of...
That's the advice that we've heard is a good thing, like staggering out the injections, and you can request that because there's so many of them. How many, by the time they go through their whole cycle, by the time I guess they leave high school, how many injections are they having? 10?
No, more than that.
More?
Yeah. Well, that one sitting was 4, and you get it at 6 weeks, and then there's 6 weeks was 2 needles, I think.
Well, how many times are they going to get jabs? I guess that's what I mean. I guess when you go one time, you get a bunch of jabs. I remember getting the jabs done at school.
Yeah.
So you'd all just line up, get your jab, your arm would hurt. Some people would scar.
See, there's like this. So that was all. At the moment, it's all about measles.
Yeah.
So everyone's going hard out on vaccinations, but then there's this HPV vaccination that you're meant to get when you're a teenager.
This is the one that they're saying kids in a lot of pain, right?
Yeah, like they're getting neural issues, like where their pain receptors are really heightened. So a little touch and they're like in pain. Excruciating pain. And I was looking up what it's for, and it's meant for cervical cancer in girls. They were giving it to girls first, and now they want to give it to boys for genital herpes.
So these are the ones, I guess, where we start asking the question, okay, do people need these, or is it starting to look like a money-making adventure where we're just trying to pump these vaccinations out to the masses? I don't know. It's a little bit, I don't know the answer there, but it's just, where does it stop? Where does it stop with vaccinations, We know some parents, who don't vaccinate their kids and swear by it.
Yeah.
We won't say their names. But some parents we know, and they've said that that particular kid,
is the
healthiest
of all their kids. But I guess it's just
pretty anecdotal.
I guess it's just like, is the risk worth it?
Yeah. So that's it. I guess the reason we do vaccinate is because we're living in a little bit of fear of what could happen to our kids. Because you see what happens with these kids that are getting measles and they're dying.
Yeah.
Okay, so we live in a little bit of fear. Now, let's get back to this Taylor Winterstein. I've got a little bone to pick with this lady. The main issue I guess I have is her coming out. If she is such a good Samaritan and she's got everybody's best interest at heart, why is she coming out and charging $200 a head for this information about this anti-vaxx information? And I guess people who listen to her platform are going to be easily influenced. Not easily influenced, but influenced by her, and she doesn't know what she's talking about. We're in the middle of an epidemic. It's clear. Listen to this. There are now 65 measles-related deaths. This is from 2 days ago in Samoa, following 2 more fatal fatalities over the past 24 hours. The government says there are now at least 4,460 measles cases since the outbreak began in October. There were 103 new cases recorded in the last 24 hours. 165 people remain hospitalized, including 18 critically ill children and 3 pregnant women. The new figures come after a 2-day nationwide shutdown to enable vaccination teams to reach households where people still needed to be immunised. Prime Minister Tuilaipa Sailele Mailegiao said probably didn't get that right. Said the teams carried out more than 20,000 vaccinations on Thursday and Friday. So, like, the science isn't lying here. Okay, this is the thing, I guess, that gets a bit annoying. Is, okay, people aren't vaccinated, they're getting measles, and then we vaccinate them and it stops them getting measles. That's just that simple, really, isn't it? Or do you think it's a little bit more complicated than that?
I think
you can still get measles.
No, you can still get measles if you're vaccinated. You can still get it, but apparently it's just not as bad.
What do you think about this? Because Australia has the zero tolerance policy, right? Do you like the zero tolerance policy where all children must be immunised? If your children's not immunised, they're outcast from society. They can't go to daycares, they can't go to schools, unis, all of that. So get immunised. Are you into that? Or do you think there's a right to choice that all these unimmunised kids should be able to hang out with the immunised kids?
I don't know, there's still a right to choice.
Maybe there needs to be like it sounds weird, but yeah, a school for a segregated school for anti-vax kids.
No.
Yeah. Also known as hippie land. No, just kidding. So, we could send all the anti-vax kids, so you could opt in or out, so you could have anti-vax vaccinated classes, non-vaccinated classes.
That's not going to happen.
That's crazy. It's crazy. It's not going to happen, nor should it happen. But I guess this is the links it would go to. These are the things I don't understand. Is if your kid's vaccinated, why would you care? Surely you're protected from non-vaccinated children.
Because I don't know, because you're not fully protected. You can still get it.
Okay.
You can still get it.
So it's not a guarantee that you won't get it.
No, well, I've heard of people still getting measles when they were vaccinated.
What's your view on Taylor? Do you have strong opinions on her? Do you think she's a shyster, like an opportunist, or do you think it's all good what she's doing?
I think if she was it's a really hard one because she's really putting herself out there to be criticised and abused for her views. But yeah, it's hard. I don't know.
She doesn't care, eh?
Well, she thinks she cares. Of course she thinks she cares. She's trying to do what she thinks is right.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking up an article here. Okay, let's get some more views, some opinions on Taylor Winterstein. An Australian doctor has blasted a high-profile anti-vaccination advocate for dubbing Samoa Nazi Samoa for its mandatory vaccine efforts. The island nation's measles outbreak has worsened, claiming 32 lives, now up to 65 lives, despite the country's mass vaccination campaign. Taylor Winterstein, the wife of Australian League player Frank Winterstein, has told those who support inoculations to wake up. In a post on Instagram, she also claimed parents in Samoa were hiding their children from authorities to avoid receiving mandatory vaccinations. But Dr. Brad Robinson, an OBGYN from Brisbane, said no one should be listening to her. This woman is not a doctor, not a nurse, has no medical training, but sells her anti-vax message for a fee. The science is clear, unequivocal, he wrote alongside a video of him shaking his head and holding a sign that implied anti-vaxxers were pro-death. Ooh. Health professionals previously highlighted the danger of the virus when Winterstein announced a speaking tour of Auckland in March. Okay, so these doctors are getting in and criticizing Taylor Winterstein. Another huge problem, however, is that a large proportion of people become infectious and spread the virus before they develop signs. Okay, well,
She was gonna do a tour in Samoa as well, but she cancelled that.
Okay.
I saw.
So, yeah, she's copping a lot of flack. I guess it comes down to the principle of whether you believe in vaccinations working or not, and they literally just don't. Taylor Winterstein doesn't believe vaccinations work. Like, in her mind, in her heart of hearts, she truly believes that she's doing the right thing, probably.
Yeah, they're just, yeah. Yeah, she thinks that she, of course she would. If
so it's not malicious.
Yeah.
It's just ignorant, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
And therefore, ignorance. If you're ignorant about, vaccinations, and you're trying to cause other people to not vaccinate, well, what does that make you? Does that make you negligent?
Yeah. I think when you have a big platform like that and you have thousands of followers, the things that you make people do or tell people, try and inform people about, yeah, you got to be careful. It's pretty bad. Like, when there's 66 people deaths in Samoa from from something that could have been preventable, like vaccinations. Yeah, it's pretty bad. And you're going around telling people that it's bad and it doesn't work.
Yeah. It's all you gotta do is, I guess, look to the country that she's in. She's in Australia, right? Where vaccination is mandatory. Is that right? Pretty sure vaccinations are now compulsory in Australia.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe we'll look that up.
100%.
But would you say in modern society, vaccinations are accepted, but there is like this anti-vax movement just gathers traction. Is it a conspiracy theory or what? Do you believe in it? You actually looked into it a bit.
Yeah, I was anti-vax, and then, but not. No, I don't want to say anti-vax. I was just, I just wanted to look into it. I wasn't completely against it. Yeah, I just wanted to research it a bit more. And I think when you think about your kids, you want to do what's best for them, and this is like years and years and years and years and years of vaccinating kids and stopping diseases, infectious diseases and stuff. Like, you can't really deny that.
Yeah.
And if you don't give your kid, imagine if you didn't vaccinate your kids and then one of them died because you didn't vaccinate your kids. Like, that's your fault. That's
well, it's happening right now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's happening right now in Samoa.
On your
Kids are dying of parents who decided, oh nah, she'll be right, we'll just won't do this vaccination thing.
Yeah, but okay, so when did those 2 babies die?
Not sure.
There were 2 babies that died in Samoa straight after they got the vaccinations, the MMR vaccine, and everyone went crazy because it was the vaccines. And what had happened, I think it was the nurses didn't mix it properly, or it was given the wrong dose, or the wrong medication or something was given, and straight after the injections the babies died.
Yep, here we go.
And then the government stopped vaccinations for, I think it was 6 or 9 months, giving anybody vaccinations. And yeah, it was just a big scare. So I can understand parents stopping it after that happened. God.
They mixed it with the wrong thing.
Yeah. Really bad. Like, the babies literally died straight away.
Yep. Shocking. So what you're saying is because of that mix up,
yeah,
which was just a human error.
Yeah.
I was just looking at the article there. 2 nurses cocked up the mixing of an MMR vaccination.
Yeah.
They were meant to mix it a certain way. They mixed it. These 2 babies died, and then all of a sudden, all of the Samoan parents went off vaccinating. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah. No, not just that. The government stopped the vaccinating. Stopped all vaccinations.
Government.
For a certain period.
Government stopped the MMR vaccination.
For like, I think it was like 6 months or 9 months or something I read.
Okay. So there's reasons behind it.
And then, yeah. And this Taylor chick, she brought that up, and she was like, it's not my fault everyone's not vaccinated. It's also, the government stopped the vaccinations.
It's not her fault, yeah, but I guess the argument to that, the logic to that is that doesn't mean we don't reintroduce and try and fix this problem that's happening right now.
Yeah.
The point is, vaccinations aren't bad. I think she thinks they are. I'm saying they're not. I'm saying I trust the medical industry and the medical professionals above Taylor Winterstein, Instagram influencer from Sydney, wife of rugby league player. Okay, WAG. Qualification WAG. I'm not listening to WAG from Sydney when it comes to the healthcare and vaccination decision making of my children. What do you think? If you do, you're an idiot. So that's a wrap. I guess I've clearly stated my opinion. I think get your kids vaccinated. Science, it's progress. You may want to spread it out over a period of time. What's your view?
Yeah, I think get your kids vaccinated, of course, but just do it if you're concerned, do it in a safer way. Like, have them spread out over a couple of weeks. I think that's what we want to do. And yeah.
Yep. Cool. Episode 4.
Let us know what you think. What's your opinion?
Yeah, what do you think? Subscribe to the channel. Tell us what we should talk about next. See you later.
Bye.
Denied.
No video.